I'm breaking down the top 10 times the Kardashian family have absolutely destroyed their own reputation. Number 1 on my list is when Kendall Jenner, a time that she absolutely ruined her own reputation is when she had no idea what it meant to be frugal. During an interview promoting the Kardashians, the show, the family took part in a rapid-fire most likely game where Kendall made an interesting revelation about herself. She had no idea what frugal means. After being asked, which sister was the most frugal, Kendall looked slightly confused and finally turned to Kourtney to ask what the word meant. TBH, Kourtney didn't really give a stellar explanation of the word either. While she might just, not have known the word, which means, of course, if you don't know, economical or thrifty, a lot of people thought it spoke more about her financial ideologies, aka she's never had to be frugal in her entire life. This isn't the first time Kendall has made herself look completely out of touch. Remember when she couldn't cut a cucumber? Or the time she starred in that controversial, Pepsi commercial? Also in 2018 when she faced a lot of backlash for appearing in a campaign for Estee Lauder's By Nightline, which a lot of people argued perpetuated, unrealistic beauty, standards. There's a lot. She definitely has had her fair share of destroying her own reputation. Number 2 is when Kim rented an entire island in the middle of a global health crisis for her birthday party. In 2020, Kim celebrated her 40th birthday in a huge way, except, we were all still in the middle of a worldwide outbreak. Despite people having lost their jobs and just struggling to get by, Kim decided to rent out an entire island and fly her friends and family on private jets to this remote location. Now, at the time, many people pointed out how it was like basically a slap in the face to people who were still, at home, and not to mention, a public health risk. Kim wrote on Instagram saying, I surprised my closest inner circle with a trip to a private island where we could pretend things were normal for just a brief moment in time. We danced, rode bikes, swam near whales, kayaked, watched a movie on the beach, and so much more. While she did add that she knew having such an event was so far out of reach for most people, she probably should have just kept the whole thing like a little bit more private. She wrote, I realized, that for most people, this is something that is so far out of reach right now, so in moments like these, I am humbly reminded of how privileged my life is. Her encounter was nonetheless, ruthlessly mocked on social media by, commentators, many of whom have been unable to seek normalcy on their own private islands during that very hard time. Number 3 is when Kylie said she was self-made, despite coming from a really wealthy family and famous family. I mean, in 2019, Kylie Jenner was named the world's youngest self-made billionaire by Forbes, but a lot of fans had an issue with that title. Not only did the, finances end up being a little off, but many people thought self-made wasn't actually an accurate title for Kylie, who grew up with immense wealth and privilege. Fans shared that it probably wouldn't have been possible for Kylie to start her business on her own if she had not had the platform her family provided. Kylie later responded to critics explaining that her parents cut her off at the age of 15, so she had no financial assistance in starting her business. Kylie told Paper Magazine, my parents told me I needed to make my own money. It's time to learn how to save and spend your own money, stuff like that. What I'm trying to say is I did have a platform, but none of my money is inherited. Jenner has said that she credits her success to social media and her large following, which is kind of fair, but she has said that she was able to kind of advertise her products directly to her fans with very little marketing expense. And just like her big sis Kendall, she has faced immense backlash for several reasons. Some honorable mentions include, lying about her net worth, exaggerating her role in building her cosmetic company. She's also been accused of cultural, appropriation, and like her sisters, of course, she's faced criticism for promoting very unrealistic beauty standards and using Photoshop and editing on basically all of her photos. Number 4, when Kim told women in business they needed to get their bleeping behind up and go to work. It's 100% easier to be successful when you're a Kardashian, but that seemed to have slipped Kim's mind, when she dished out some advice to working women, despite the fact that Kim was born into a very wealthy, well-connected family and skyrocketed to fame thanks to reality TV. She explained that she thought the problem with people in business was that no one wanted to work. Kim told Variety, get your bleeping behind up and work. It seems like nobody wants to work these days. You have to surround yourself with people that want to work and have a good work environment where everyone loves what they do. And while, it's true that you have to work hard to reap the benefits, it's definitely not as simple as that for people who aren't born into wealth and fame. Kim faced so much backlash, from viewers reporters who called her out for ignoring her upbringing's role in her success and how many people do work hard but aren't fairly financially compensated. Number 5, when the Kardashian family launched a debit card with ridiculously high fees. Back in 2010, the Kardashians launched the Kardashian Kard with a K, a short-lived prepaid debit card so that fans could live the life of luxury similar to the family. It was issued by the University National Bank, which actually later changed their name to just Sunrise Bank, and they are known to issue prepaid cards with like insane fees. Yearly fees, monthly fees, card purchase fees, card replacement fees, ATM withdrawal fees, and even a fee to just simply check your balance at an ATM. Unfortunately, because this card ended up having all of these insane fees, including the $100 per year membership fee and fees for ATM withdrawals, cancellations, and just even like talking to a phone operator, you had to pay a fee. The card, for those very obvious reasons, did not do well. Forbes actually described it as one of the worst financial products ever introduced, like ever. This family seemed to have missed the memo that not everyone could afford these kinds of fees for a debit card, and the Connecticut Attorney General even accused the family of unfairly targeting financially unsophisticated young adults. It took less than a month for the whole thing to get shut down, which would explain why it's likely that you, me, or anyone else, hasn't actually heard of this till now. Number 6, when they rented a chimp for the week, just for fun. In the early days of Keeping Up with the Kardashians, some wild stuff went down, particularly during season 3, when the family actually spent money to rent a chimp. Yes, like a chimpanzee. Prior to Susie the chimp temporarily joining the fam, Kris had mentioned she was having a hard time, with her children leaving the nest, so her eldest daughters, decided this would be a good idea to give her someone new to take care of. While most people might settle, for a dog or a hamster, maybe even a goldfish, their Kardashians, opted for a chimpanzee, which probably cost a pretty penny and probably wasn't the best, environment for the animal. Number 7, when they allegedly underpaid the staff who worked on their apps. Now, back when the Kardashian sisters each had their own apps, they employed a staff that contributed content to the platforms. Now, unfortunately, the employees were reportedly severely underpaid, while Kim, Khloe, and Kourney were bringing in like massive amounts of money. Years later, a former employee took to Twitter to reveal how she had been treated while working at the app, and her life was a stark contrast to the lives of the Kardashians. She actually said, I was an editor on the Kardashian apps in 2015 in LA. I worked days and nights and weekends, could only afford groceries from the 99-cents only store, called out sick more than once because I couldn't put gas in my car to get to the office, and was reprimanded for freelancing on the side. Number 8, when Khloe TP'd Kourtney's house during the worldwide health emergency, when toilet paper was basically sold out everywhere. Now, in the early days of the crisis, getting a hold of toilet paper wasn't an easy task, with people hoarding and stocking. Shelves were like often left very empty. That didn't seem to be an issue for the Kardashians though, which became super apparent when Khloe TP'd Kourtney's house with numerous rolls of toilet paper. It was tone deaf, irresponsible, and just downright like not okay at the time. Number 9, when Kendall denied allegations that her modeling career was actually handed to her. There's no doubt that Kendall, works hard as a model, but she raised some eyebrows when she kind of shared conflicting statements about the origins of her modeling career. While Kendall said she did everything she was supposed to do to get to her current position in the industry, there's no denying the fact that her family status played a huge role in propelling her to be one of the most famous models in the world. In fact, elsewhere in the interview, Kendall explained that when she was 14, she presented like a homemade modeling book to her mom, and then she did her Kris Jenner thing and made it all kind of just come to life like magic. Jenner has, modeled for designers including Karl Lagerfeld, Fendi, Calvin Klein, and Chanel. In 2018, Forbes actually named her the highest paid model in the world. And last but not least, we have number 10, when Khloe thought it was cute that a fan had to work 20 hours to afford a pair of Good American jeans. Khloe's Good American jeans can be very expensive, but just how pricey they are didn't really seem to set in for her until she got backlash for for a social media interaction with a fan. When a fan tweeted, you know, they had to work about 20 hours just to buy a pair, Khloe actually responded by saying, "Oh, it was so cute," you know, that the fan wanted to pick up extra shifts in order to afford the merchandise. Social media users weren't happy to hear that someone as rich as Khloe thought that it was cute, you know, for someone to work that hard just to afford a pair of jeans. One user even wrote, "Khloe, I think it's nice, you know, she likes your jeans, but picking up extra shifts to be able to afford them isn't cute. You should send her a whole box for even, you know, wanting to do that." They immediately let her know her response, you know, made her sound insensitive and tone deaf, and it actually made a difference. Khloe later ended up sending the fan a package filled with good American items. So there's my list, but what do you guys think? Anything that tops my top 10? Let me know your thoughts. I'm your host, Ashley. It's been great catching up.